Hello, welcome to this session on building resilience by your Ascension Employee Assistance Program. Today, we are going to talk about the skills around building resilience and how to bounce back when things are difficult. Life is full of surprises, right? Some are good and others are challenging. Some are expected and some are not. Resilience empowers us to navigate life's inevitable challenges or setbacks and recover from them while we're maintaining our physical, mental, and emotional well being. Everyone is able to grow their skills around resilience, and that is what we are going to talk about today. Specifically, we are going to focus on resilience. We're going to define what resilience is and explore the benefits of being resilient. We're going to learn about traits that foster resilience and identify some steps to help build resilience. So that's what we're going to do today. So resilience is the capacity to withstand or recover from difficulties. Okay. Um, if we were to be talking about an object, this would be the ability of that object to spring back into shape, or how elastic it is. Resilience is our capacity to withstand and recover from hard things. So when we have well-developed resilience skills, it is easier to embrace change. It's easier to adapt to adversity and maintain our well-being. And so that's what we're really going to focus on today are some strategies and some ways to build skills around maintaining your resilience. And that's important because there are many benefits to being resilient. When we are resilient, we have improved mental health. Resilience is associated with lower rates of anxiety and depression. We have reduced stress. Resilience improves our ability to navigate stressful and difficult times. And resilience also helps us foster a positive outlook or feelings of being more satisfied with life. Likewise, a lack of resilience means that you might not handle stress very well in difficult situations, and chronic or long-lasting stress is associated with a variety of health-related concerns, including high blood pressure, a weakened immune system, anxiety, depression, heartburn, indigestion, heart disease, among others, right? So it's really important to build those resilience skills. Doing that is an investment in your long-term mental, physical, and emotional health. So let's start by exploring the traits that contribute to our ability to be resilient, I'm sorry. So our traits of resilience. When you think about navigating hard times in the past, difficult situations, things that were incredibly stressful, what qualities or characteristics were helpful for you in making it through that difficult or stressful time? There's no right or wrong answer to this question, and answers will be different for every person, right? Maybe you are a good decision maker, or you're able to maintain a really clear focus when things are hard. So you might have some qualities or characteristics that help you cope when things are difficult. Or some people might just feel bogged down and overwhelmed when things are heavy and hard. If that's you, that's okay. So here are our traits of resilience. These 5 traits are particularly important when it comes to being resilient. So when we get to the end of the slide, it might be helpful to just hit the pause button for a minute and reflect on your skills and your abilities in these 5 areas. The first one is adaptability, or how flexible we are in the face of challenge, right? How adaptable are you when things are difficult? For some people, it can feel incredibly difficult to adapt to changes in things like policies, procedures, processes, or the environment, right? Change can be difficult, but it's an important part of being resilient. Optimism is another key trait. Optimism, right? Maintaining a positive outlook on life. Even in challenging situations, optimism is really important. When things are hard or difficult, it's really easy to focus on the bad things that are happening. Overcoming this tendency and focusing on the positives can help improve our sense of resilience. Perseverance is also important. This is our ability to keep going in the face of setbacks and allowing ourselves the opportunity to learn from your experiences rather than be defeated by them. Perseverance allows you to carry forward as you continue to navigate hard things. Fourth, self-reflection is another key part or another key trait of resilience, right? So this is reflecting on your experience, gaining insights from challenges, and using them to grow. How often do you hit the pause button? Do you stop? Do you reflect on the different experiences that you're going through, especially in times of stress? I think it's easy to lose the ability to be self-reflective when things are stressful because we're trying to navigate that stress. But if we can slow down and if we can reflect on those hard things that we are experiencing, we can find some insight and some opportunities for us to grow. And then social support is another important trait of resilience. And so this is all about focusing on your support network, building and maintaining strong connections with other people, whether these are friends, family, coworkers. Having people that you can lean on in challenging times will also help improve your sense of resilience. So if you'd like, you can hit the pause button on this recording here. If you'd like to take a few minutes to reflect on your abilities or your skills in these different traits of resilience. You can take a minute to identify which of these might be areas of strength for you and which might be some areas where you could foster some growth or development to help build those resilient skills. So growing resilience requires us to leave our comfort zone, right? And that's what this graphic here depicts, right? Our comfort zone and our learning zones. So that reddish brown circle in the center represents our comfort zone. This is where we feel the most comfortable and the most safe. We know what is expected and life feels really easy when we're in that comfort zone. Okay, that tan circle, one to the right of the comfort zone, that represents our fear zone. We enter this zone when there's some kind of change that we need to navigate, whether it's a job change, a change in our supervisors at work, change in our health, change in our relationships. This zone, the fear zone, feels far less comfortable than the comfort zone. Um, Often we don't have a lot of previous experience to help guide us through the fear zone, so it's difficult to know how to navigate when we're there. It's common to make excuses to want to avoid entering the fear zone because it feels uncomfortable when we're there. Often people try to resist change to prevent going into that fear zone. Um, Experiencing that fear, being in that zone, is often the most challenging part of navigating any kind of change or hard, difficult time that we experience. Okay, that brownish circle to the right of the fear zone, that is the learning zone. And so when our resilience is sufficient enough, we can navigate through that fear zone into that learning zone. This is where we begin to develop new skills in the learning zone. We learn how to cope with challenges and we find answers to the different problems that we experience. Consequently, we become more familiar with new conditions. As we become more comfortable with new conditions, we extend our comfort zone. We feel comfortable with new situations or circumstances. The learning zone helps us grow as a person, creating resilience and conquering obstacles. Okay, but we definitely need resilience to get through the fear zone into the learning zone. And as we continue on this trajectory, if we look to the right of the learning zone, we see that greenish circle around the outside, which is the growth zone. Here, We experience redefining change. We find comfort in new routines. We we develop new processes or new approaches. This is the ultimate reward for facing our fears along our journey and doing it anyway and continuing forward. Right? Resilience helps us navigate through these different zones. If we lack resilience, it's common to get stuck in either our comfort zone or maybe we venture into that fear zone, but we get stuck there. And then we might muddle around there for a little bit, or we might retreat back into the comfort zone. As we go through this process, once we reach the growth zones, once we've gone all the way through all of those zones, our resilience grows as well. Okay. So that's a nice visual overview of the process we go through when we're navigating change and hard things, and we're developing and growing those resilience skills. So how do we do this? How do we build resilience as we're navigating through those different zones? That's what we're going to talk about now. Okay. The first thing you can do when you're navigating difficult or hard things is to identify any challenges that you may face. That way, you are well prepared to deal with those challenges in positive ways. So it's helpful to consider work, right? Relationships with family, friends, and partners. What are some challenges or some hard things that you're navigating? Managing finances. Maybe you're managing health issues for yourself or for someone close to you, or big life transitions like moving, changing jobs, or other major life events like getting married, getting divorced, birth of a child, right? Those are all difficult, hard situations that we navigate. Okay, and as you identify those challenges, think for a few minutes about stress, right? How do you manage stress during hard times? It'll be helpful to think about what stress is like for you. Stress is different for everyone. What is your individual stress response like? What kinds of situations activate stress for you? How do you typically react to stress? Again, this is different for everyone. Some people shut down and feel overwhelmed. Others might become jumpy or agitated. How do you respond or react to your stress? What do you do to cope with your stress? What are the healthy and unhealthy things that you do to manage stress? Talking with a friend, exercising, eating junk food, having a drink to relax. Those are all examples. And how well do your coping strategies work for you? Right? So if you are talking with a friend, or if you are having an extra beer at night and those strategies aren't working, right? Some of them aren't healthy. We want to keep our unhealthy coping strategies in check, right? We probably need to make some changes or some adjustments in the coping strategies that we're using. The awareness of your stress reactions and incorporating effective coping strategies really helps improve our resilience and our ability to work through the challenging things that we're experiencing. Another helpful thing when navigating the course of change or difficult things is to shift your mindset, right? Having the right mindset can significantly impact your ability to deal with stress and hardships. So if we have a negative mindset, we're going to experience more stress and more challenges. If we have a positive mindset, we're going to have less stress and greater challenges. So think for a moment about your natural tendencies when you're taking things in, especially when times are difficult or stressful. Do you tend to have a more positive or optimistic outlook? Or do you see the negative, hard aspects of the scenarios, or maybe the worst case situations in whatever difficult thing you're navigating? Are you a glass half full kind of person or a glass half empty? Some people say that their glass is refillable. So sometimes that's an option too for people. The good news is that if you tend to have a more negative or pessimistic outlook, right, we can really work to shift that mindset. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But you can shift your mindset to a more positive, resilient one. Okay. So you can embrace that mindset by positive reframing, viewing challenges as opportunities for growth rather than obstacles you can't overcome. can shift your mindset by accepting change, right? Instead of resisting change, see it as a constant in life and try to adapt to it. So often people get stuck in viewing change as, right, change is not the norm. Things should stay routine. Things should stay consistent. Things should stay just as they are every day. And when change happens, change seems difficult. Like it shouldn't be happening because it's difficult. It's hard. Here's another thing we have to work through. But if we can accept change and recognize that change is a normal part of life, that's an important piece of shifting our mindset and building our resilience to navigating different difficult things. Focus on what you can control, right? Put your attention where you have the power and the control. It's always helpful to know where to put our effort and energy, and we always want to direct those to things that we can impact, things that we can see some change around. So, for example, there might be a policy change happening at work, maybe around break time procedures, and that's impacting your routine and how or when you normally take your break at work. And that's causing some stress and some agitation and frustration for you. So when that happens, you can step back and look at what you can control, right? You likely don't have the ability to change the policy, but you can control how you respond to it. You can find some additional strategies to make this new shift around break policies more part of a routine, easier to navigate, and work with your thoughts around a more positive view related to those changes. Shifting your mindset, you can focus on solutions rather than dwelling on problems or difficulties. Take a proactive approach and look for those solutions. And then practice self-efficacy, right? This is the belief that you can navigate these challenges that you're experiencing, because you can. You've navigated hard things before. You can get through this challenging situation. Sometimes it can take time to work on shifting our mindset. It takes practice. These are things, right? Our brain has been responding maybe to see the negative or the worst case scenario, or to focus on all the things we can't control, right? Like that's how our brain is used to working. And so it can just take some practice, but we can work on shifting that mindset to help it get to a more resilient place. Okay. Another important part of building resilience is developing coping strategies. So when things feel stressful or hard, how do you cope with that stress? Okay. This looks different for everyone. There are some examples here that are on the screen, right? Exercise, journaling, getting lost in a video game, listening to music, overthinking, reading, avoiding a situation, talking with a friend, eating a bag of chips. Self-care, shopping, having a beer, going golfing, watching a movie, weeding the garden. This list can go on and on, right? So what do you do? How do you cope when things feel hard? There are a few techniques that are especially helpful in coping with challenging or hard situations in a more resilient way. These include mindfulness and staying present in the moment. Right? This helps prevent overwhelming thoughts about the past, the present, or the future. To be more mindfulness, or to have more mindfulness, or to be more present, pay attention to your breath and anchor yourself in the presence of the moment. Observe your thoughts, right? What thoughts are running through your head, and do that without judging them. Pay attention to what's happening around you, to what's happening around your in your environment, and think about your five senses, right? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you smelling? What are you tasting? What are you feeling? To grow in the area of mindfulness and presence, you can simply start being more present in the moment, right? Paying attention to your breath and your breathing, engaging in daily activities without distraction, right? So taking a break from technology, putting phones down, really being present with what's happening around you is a small step, but a big one that you can take to growing your mindfulness. Building a solid support system, right? Social connections help us be more resilient. So when you have an outlet to share, you not only provide an outlet for your thoughts and feelings, but you can receive additional ideas and additional support from other people. So this could be friends, family members, coworkers, if that's appropriate, mental health counselors. Um, and so this could be a great opportunity or a great this could be a great opportunity for you to connect with your EAP, your Employee Assistance Program benefit, and take advantage of the free counseling sessions that are available to you as an employee with the company that you work for. So EAP can be part of that support system that you create. And then identify healthy lifestyle choices, right? These are kind of the foundational pieces to taking care of ourselves, which are really important in helping us navigate difficult times. So, right, this includes getting regular exercise, choosing a healthy diet, just moving your body more, getting the sleep that you need to feel rested. These are so important and help us show up and be so we can be present, so we can have capacity to work through and handle the hard things that come our way. Okay. Next, learn to embrace change. We talked a little bit about this already, but this is an important part of being resilient. So, um, resisting change creates significant stress for us, right? So it's helpful to learn how to embrace that change to help reduce the stress that we're experiencing. Change is constant. If you think back over life, you think about life at work, you think about life at home, it's probably easy to look back and see how constant change has been. When we're navigating change, it feels difficult, it feels uncomfortable. We often don't want to be doing it, but it is constant. So it's really helpful to build resilience to become comfortable with the uncertainty that comes with change. Okay. So be patient with yourself as you're working through how to embrace the concept of change. This is something that takes a little bit of time, but here are some things that can help. View challenges as opportunities to learn, to adapt your skills, or to grow. Okay, rather than focusing on what you're losing or what's changing, really look at what you can gain or how you can grow in this process. Focus on the strengths that have helped you overcome previous challenges. We've all navigated hard things before. I said that a few minutes ago, but think back to those situations and the skills and the strengths that helped you through at those times. Then use those skills to help overcome your current challenges. Use current challenges to set goals for growth, right? In your personal life and your professional life. If you lean into the things that are the hardest, that is often where we see the most personal growth and development. And then acknowledge your feelings, right? Whenever something changes, whether it's a good change or a bad change, we experience some kind of loss with that. So it might be a loss of something we enjoyed, or maybe there's something that you're happy to leave in the past, right? Something that you've been doing that you haven't enjoyed, and this change is helping you leave that in the past. But there's still loss with that. So acknowledging the grief that you're experiencing, along with any other feelings, sometimes that might be sadness or frustration, maybe confusion. Acknowledging those feelings will help with the process of embracing change. And focusing on the positive. Okay, focusing on the positive. Positivity is a really powerful agent in the face of hardship and navigating change. So, this is looking at life from a positive and grateful perspective, and this really helps improve our sense of resilience. So, to do this, focus on the things in life that bring you joy, right? At work or outside of work. Look at the good things in your life. These don't need to be big things, right? Like a brand new car, getting a great bonus at work. These can be small but special things. Like maybe you had an excellent cup of coffee that you picked up at the drive-thru on the way to work. Or maybe you saw a beautiful sunset, or you were able to have lunch with a good friend. What are the small things in your life that are good? Focus on those. Identify and focus on those. Shift your perspective to what you can learn or what you can gain. Um, That's important, right? So we can focus on the good things that can come. Celebrate the small wins, right? To build confidence in yourself and acknowledge the efforts that you've put in. Share thanks and appreciation with others, right? Sharing that gratitude and that appreciation can make a positive impact in the life of the person you're sharing that feedback with, but it also has a really powerful impact on you when you're sharing it. And then start your day on a positive note. And this can be as simple as reading a favorite quotation each morning or reflecting on a couple good things that happened the day before or good things that you have to look forward to that day. Okay. And seeking professional support is a really important part of growing our resilience. So it's time to connect with professional support when your challenges or stressors are affecting your daily life, causing anxiety, sadness, or you're having difficulty coping in some way. Or if those stressors are interfering with your work, your relationships, or your daily activities. Sometimes it can be really difficult to know when we should reach out for some additional help or some additional support. So this list is a really helpful resource, right? This can kind of help make that maybe a little more clear, take away the gray area of whether or not seeking some additional help could be useful. Okay. But connecting with the proper resources can help you build tools and strategies to cope, which in turn will help create resilience. Okay, EAP is a great resource when it comes to managing change and challenges and helping to build coping tools and strategies. So if you are feeling like you need some assistance or some added support in this area beyond what you have available right now, definitely consider your EAP benefit as a resource for you. Okay, so in summary, today we've talked about how change is constant, right? Resilience helps us respond to that change in a healthier way. We've talked about how you can grow your skills around resilience. And just a reminder that it's really important to be patient with yourself as you work through learning how to be more resilient, as you learn how to be more adaptable, to shift your mindset, to self-reflect, to grow that social support network. Those things all take time, but they are well worth the effort and energy that you will put in for them. So you are not born with a fixed amount of resilience like a muscle. You can build it up and draw on it when you need it. Okay, so a little inspiration around the idea of building that resilience for you. Hopefully you've found some good strategies, some good information in this presentation, and hopefully you have identified one thing that you can take away from this presentation that you can use to help start building or growing your sense of resilience. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you would ever like to connect with your EAP benefit, here's how you can reach us. Through your EAP benefit, you are able to connect with short-term solution-focused counseling sessions that are available to you as an employee of the company where you work. You can learn about that benefit, or you can reach out to schedule an appointment by calling our 800 number there on the screen, 1-800-540-3758, or by emailing our office, eap@ascension.org. Or if you'd like, you can scan that QR code and that will connect you with our EAP webpage with a lot of information and resources available for you about the EAP benefit. You can meet our counseling staff, and there's also a spot on our webpage where you can request an appointment if you would like. So thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you received some valuable tips and information related to growing your resilience and bouncing back. Thank you for joining us. Bye.